Alright, so we've got a brand new gas jug. And I hate these damn things here, so we're going to show you a little trick here. And this is against the law. This is something that the cops don't want you to know anything about. Alright, we got the cows all fed. Now we're going to fix this tire. Got to pull this nail out. I'm going to mark it. We'll mark this tire here. That's where the nail is. And then we'll mark it where the valve stem is. That way we can lay the tube against the tire. Figure out where exactly the hole is in it if we decide to patch the tube. And there's a 16 penny nail here. Fun stuff. Okay, so that's where our hole is, right there. So we'll just clean this tube up, slap a patch on there, and put it back together. Alright, we have our hole circled here on the tube. We're just going to sand this down a little bit so we've got a real nice, smooth, clean surface to stick to here. Alright, we got our surface all cleaned up. Now we're just going to put a little glue down. And we'll stick this patch right to it. Alright, so we're waiting for that glue to dry on that patch. We're just going to check down inside this tire, this handy dandy flashlight here, and make sure there's nothing more in here. Alright. Well, that is pretty clean in there. Now the glue is dry on this patch. We're just going to pull this little cellophane wrapper off of here. And that is very nicely all glued down. So now we'll get the tube in the tire and get the tire mounted back up. Alright, we got this tire mounted back up. We have two spare tractor front tires like this, so we're probably going to catch a few more nails. Hopefully they stay out of the mixer wagon tires. But that's done. We got to work on some manure fan housings that go on the liquid spreaders. Jered's been working here and there on the engine in this 4620, and he's done very little videoing here on this, but he's got the sleeves all in here, and he has explained a little bit of this, not much. Just kind of doing this hit and miss here. So we're going to work on some manure housing, or some fan housings that go on the liquid tanks, and I've got to put some parts together for the corn planter here.
Alright, so these are actually a Reliance piston. These are what they call their high compression piston. It's supposed to be for easier starting. I doubt this is really going to gain you too much horsepower that you'll at least notice. But on these pistons, they have a front arrow, and you have to match that up with your rod. Your rod will also say front on it. You have to put it in the same way, front and front. And then when you lower this down in, you also have to have it going so the piston is going to point front, rod is going to go front, and you just kind of lower it down in. It's going to end up sitting on your rings. Let it sit there for a second. This is what they call a ring compressor, I think. I don't know, a cheap little tool. You can get it anywhere. Napa. I think I got this one from Napa. But it's basically just a band clamp that goes around. Dropping everything. This just goes around your rings, and it's going to compress. It's going to compress your rings so your piston will drop down inside your sleeve, liner, whatever you want to call it. And you just take something nice and soft. This is a, I don't even know what this is. I found it. It's a piece of plastic like that. A little hammer. Sometimes you can just push it down in. Sometimes you'll need the hammer. And I just... Well, what did it do? Is it turning? It's turning. Yeah. What's it doing? Oh, we came off. We came off the last one. Chopped off the last ring. There you go. And then you can just, I'm just using my hand. I'm not even using a hammer. I'm just push it down to the bottom. you want to make sure your rod, where'd that flash? Your rod is gonna, see it's coming down through. Yep, it's sitting right on the crankshaft, right where you want it. So now we got to grab our end cap. Where did my end cap go? David, where did I put my end cap? There it is. Of course, everything is covered in assembly lube, and I got the bearing already in the rod end cap. Our end cap thread, 2 rod bolts. These also only go on one way. They have notches in the cap, so you can't really mess it up. Or if you did, then, well, should be able to figure it out. It's like Legos. It only goes together one way. All right, it's in there. Now we can move on to, we'll actually torque this one and number 5 first, because they're at their lowest points, and then we'll turn the motor over and get the other ones. We'll be able to torque, I don't know, number 6 and number 1 come down at the same time, and then number 3 and 4 come down at the same time. So we'll torque these 2, turn it over so the other ones will come down, torque those, turn it over again, torque those. We got to do the main bearings too. I haven't torqued these either. So yeah, everything is pretty much together. I'm gonna get that done, and then we'll put the oil pan on and start on the top end. I got the head laying on a pallet over there, and I got pretty much everything but the injection pump and the injectors. I have not gotten those from Fair Valley Diesel yet. I gotta call them at some point. So everything's looking good. Keep you updated.
All right, we're working on fan housings now. This is an old door here. It had some wear spots. I ended up filling it in with weld. And I've got that ground down. I've got the bearing oil box, shaft, whatever thing. That's all rebuilt, but I screwed up some seals, so I got to get some more seals for that. I've got a new door here, new bearing box there, another one there that I've got to take apart, and we've got a couple of new fans. So we're just going to put the new stuff together, and then I've got to get some more seals, and I've got to get a bearing kit for that other one there, but we're going to take it apart anyways. Alright, we have to bolt the bearing box or shaft assembly to the cover here, but we're going to clean these holes out first before we actually bolt that down. So we're just going to oil these up, run a bolt in and back out again, and if something happens and we screw it up, we can clean it up and redo it here. We probably should just run a tap down in it, but they're not rusted, so we're just going to run a bolt down in there. So we got these bolts all in there, but I'm going to tap out these little 5/16 holes right here where all the little drain assembly goes on to. I've actually broke these ones off before trying to get them in there. So we'll clean these up with a tap, and then we'll get this drain on there. We can roll it over and put the fan on it. Right hand side, and it's right across the road. All right, we've got everything cleaned up, and we're just gonna put this new fan right on here. Just like so. This keyway wanted to fall out, so I figured I would put that in after the fact, but I don't really want to go in there. How's she rolling? All right, this should be just about ready to go. I just have to fill the bearing box assembly or bearing housing assembly there up with some gear oil. Then we can set this one on a pallet. Actually, I got to put the gasket in there and get the gear oil in there, set it on a pallet, start the next one. All right, we got this one done. I'm going to wait to handle this one until the glue is nice and dry. We'll set it on the pallet, but in the meantime, I'm going to start the next one. All right, we got those fan housings, or the fan and color housings setting upstairs there. We've got one completely done, and I've got to get some parts for the other ones. Roger took the bench down. It ran between the sink and the stairs. We've got other plans for that. We cut the bench down to size, and this is where we're gonna put all the grease guns. We got one out getting used right now, and then the charger and the grease guns and whatever are gonna be sitting there along with the bottle jacks. Kerr ended up building a oh, like an air hose holder and wires, trailer wire harness and everything like that. He ended up building that holder. That had a spring-loaded one, but we put a rigid one on there. So, just getting her painted, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, now we're going to take this housing apart that goes to a Husky truck tank. We've got a bearing gone in it. This one's got a decent propeller, so we should be able to get away with just swapping the bearings out of that quick. Alright, we're rebuilding this Husky fan housing, and it goes together basically like a wheel bearing. And we've got the seals and the pre-lube bearing in there. And Lucan's here, he's got one, the outer bearing ready to go. Now we've got a sleeve that goes down on the impeller shaft. It's just a like a speedy sleeve, if you will, that rides in the hub itself. And I've got it down on the bearing heater right now. That's a Bessie bearing heater. We're just heating that up so it'll expand. I've got to get a pair of gloves on here. We're gonna see how hot that guy is right there. And it is up to 125 degrees. It needs to be a little warmer. But I think we're gonna go ahead and try it anyways, because I think it's been on there long enough. Hopefully it slides into place here. And it did. Alright, we are over in our cold storage part of our shop, and I didn't video the last little bit of this fan housing going together. So this is a spare fan housing for a Husky manure tanker. That goes on the back of one of the international trucks that has a Husky tank on it. So that's a spare, that's ready to go here in the event that we have a bearing or an impeller or something that goes all to whack on that. And then those other parts over there are for the Husky pumps that are down in the manure. And those are the housings for that kind of stuff there. Everything's sitting in the background. So we're going to have to get along now. We're going to have to start putting some parts together for the corn planter. I want to make sure I've got fertilizer disc bearings with me. Just various little stupid things that go during the course of the year, and we're going to start organizing some of that stuff so I can go right to it and grab it if need be. So let's get on working on that here now. Alright, we've got the last minute preparations here that we need to make just before we can start planting corn. So we've got all our parts organized, you know, fertilizer disc bearings and whatever. And I've got that loaded into my green truck. I've got to put a agitation port on this rear tank that's on the back of this fertilizer truck, and then that's going to wrap things up as far as the preparations that we need to make just before we start planting corn here. So I've got to drill a hole in this tank. This one's going to be a little more fun to do because I've already got it filled, but I want to agitate it before we actually fill the corn planter. So I'm going to drill a hole on there, drop down a tube inside it. I'm not going to put that long of a drop down pipe because what I worry about is once that tank gets near empty or, you know, half full or so, I worry about the material sloshing around, breaking the drop down tube off. So I'm going to drill a hole on there, get our bung set in the tank, and then we've got a hose on the floor there that we're going to hook to the bung coming out of the top of the tank, and I should be able to reach it by just going up that little step ladder and hooking the hose that fills the corn planter up to it, let it agitate, and then go on about doing it that way. So let's get our hole drilled in the tank and get our hose together and get this thing out the door here. Okay, so now I gotta try to do this without dropping anything. The fun part, right?
Oh yeah.
This would have been much easier to do if I didn't have it filled already. But oh well. Alright, so dip this guy down into here. Hopefully. Alright. So there's that there. Drop the plastic ring down on there. Put the nut over on here. Alright, so I got that threaded. I just gotta spin this on there. Okay, so we obviously had to have a little bit of a wardrobe change because I soaked my sleeve. So I've got the hose going off that top bung that I put in there. And then this hose here is the hose that'll fill the corn planter. And then I could just take this like this. Hook it up to this hose. Like that. And we can start our pump up. We'll let that agitate for a little bit anyways. I've got to drive this truck like 12 miles, so it's probably going to agitate enough, but it's also been sitting on the truck for about 2.5 weeks, the fertilizer in this tank here. Oh. Gas jug, and I hate these damn things here, so we're going to show you a little trick here, and this is against the law. This is something that the cops don't want you to know anything about. So we bought this kit here, and we're going to put a vent hole in this jug, and we're going to have a different fill neck here so that we can pour gas out of this jug faster than, So I've got to figure out what size hole I need to drill here. Oh, if I need my glasses. What size hole do we drill? Well, at any rate, we're going to drill a hole in the jug, and then we can stuff this vent in here, and then this nozzle's just going to screw on here like the old one did. But you can't buy these damn gas jugs without a damn vent hole in them. So, let's go ahead and drill a hole in it quick. I got to find out what size drill bit I need here. Drill a hole in here very neatly. Hopefully all the crap came outside the jug. Oh, come on. It needs to be a little bigger. Alright, so that's going to work there. There's our vent hole. Then we'll just use this fancy nozzle that they gave us here. I think this is made to hook on here like that. Oh, come on. Get on there. Get on there. Ah, crap, I gotta put this on. Well, which one fits it? Matter? Why did they give us two tops? No, it's not the black one.
Black one's for smaller cans.
We're fumbling around here quite a bit. So we got a little rubber ring there. Bang this over that like that. It's got this plug in here that we don't need. Yeah, we don't need that. So, put that together like that. Voila! So that's that. Throw our extra parts out here. A bit that we used. Oh, what size is that? I can't even read it. I ain't gonna bother with it. We gotta roll. Alright. Alright, we've got everything set and ready to go on this truck. We got our agitation done and we got our fancy gas jug retrofitted. So, that's going to do it for this video, folks. I want to thank you for watching, and hopefully in the next couple days here we can get into the field here planting some corn. So, remember, hit the thumbs up, drop me a comment down below here, and we will catch you at the next video, folks. Take it easy.